As parents, we want the best for our children. We strive to give them the tools they need to thrive in life. But have you ever stopped to think about the habits that you're teaching them? Um, what if I told you that the habits that you help your kids build today will shape who they become tomorrow, right? What if I told you that small everyday actions will define their confidence, their relationship, and even their success in life? Don't wait for a miracle to happen and then, wish that you had done better in their younger years. The question is, are you being intentional? Are we being intentional about the habits that we're instilling in these young ones? Or are we just hoping for the best, hoping that magically your child is going to know how to do certain things and have certain levels of confidence? It is not luck, it is intentionality. Okay? Yes, parenting isn't about perfection, but it is about planting the right seeds. The seeds we're planting now will shape our kids' future in a very profound way, right? In today's video, we're going to talk about 7 essential habits, if well nurtured, can actually shape your child into a strong, confident, kind, and capable, well-rounded human being, right? Don't worry, we're not talking about, perfection. Perfection is impossible. We're not talking about the Instagram, perfect picture that you see. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about being a mentor to your child first, letting your child walk in the right path, right? This is about habits that fit into real, messy, everyday life, not perfection. So come along and let's do this. Okay.
Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me.
My name is Bridget and welcome to Bridge Tribe. If this is your first time, seeing me, please, I ask that you subscribe to our channel, click the notification button, and, drop a comment and like this video. Talk about intentional parenting. We talk about lifestyle. We talk about building generational wealth. We talk about finances and healthy lifestyle. Did I say that before? Okay, forgive me. Okay, so if you know that this is something, all of these topics are things that you can relate to, so please, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click the notification bell. Now, parenting isn't a to-do list, right? It's not just feeding, clothing, schooling, and so on. There's more to parenting than just providing. There's more to parenting than just being someone who gives money. Parenting is shaping the hearts and modeling behavior patterns, becoming the blueprint they carry into adulthood. In this in today's video, we're talking about what it really means to raise an wholesome, balanced, well-balanced child, not just, children who are just obedient, or, not what society tells you, or not just what society models parenting to be, right? We'll explore how everyday interactions can build the child's identity, why intentionality matters, right? I talk about intentionality so much. Why intentionality matters more than perfection. Now there's intentionality, and then there's you trying to be perfect, and how you can parent in a way that feels honest, aligned, and your heart is in it. Okay. Now, I talk about how, I speak in at seminars and financial seminars. And I'm not just speaking, I take my children along with me when I speak, because there's some things that are not taught. They have to be caught. Your children have to be in the right environment. So the question is, how are you modeling as a parent to these kids? Now, remember that you are the child's first mirror. Children don't just listen to what you say, they watch what you do, they replicate from the way you speak to strangers, from the way you handle disappointment or joy, from the way you carry yourself, the confidence within you, from the way you speak. They're learning what it means to be human simply by observation. Yeah. Children will observe you and replicate and duplicate, Science backs this up. Mirror neurons in the child's brain allows them to literally mirror your emotional responses and actions. That means that your patience will teach them patience, your panic will teach them panic, your courage will teach them courage, your bravery will teach them bravery. The confidence with which you speak will teach them self-confidence, and so on and so forth. So when you speak gently in the face of stress, they learn self-regulation. When you explode in frustration, when you see your anger and frustration constantly being melted out, you give away, you replicate that, right? They learn that volatility is a go-to response, in those scenarios. It goes on and on. So what's the lesson here? The lesson here is pretty clear. You are not just raising your kids, you are reflecting to them who they are and who they can become, right? So make sure you're watching yourself so that you can pass on those, habits, and the things that you do will be worthy of your children to emulate. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is that values will beat rules. Rules tell kids what to do, what not to do this, do that, do this, do that. Values teach them why it matters. So there's a major difference between telling a child not to lie and raising a child who believes that the truth telling is honorable. And even when it's hard. An example is, don't hit your sister. Now, that's a rule. On the other hand, in my home, right, we treat people with gentleness and respect. They don't see their father hitting me. They don't see, me. They don't see you as a parent, doing that to yourself. So it's easier for them to kind of emulate the value of they seeing what you do rather than you telling them don't hit, and then they see you constantly, you're hitting your spouse. And I talk about relationship like husband and wife relationship, and that's how these habits are transferred. And you see that some men naturally feel that hitting a woman is natural because they saw their parents do that. Okay, now values are the internal compass that guide decision making. Long after you're gone, when you're not there, if you focus on solely external behaviors, we risk raising children who know how to perform, but not how to live with integrity. What do you do, or what do your children do when you're not watching? On the other hand, when we talk about respect, kindness, and generosity, these are not weekend lessons. They are backed into how we discipline, how we speak about others, how we portray discipline, how we apologize when we mess up. I know that African parents do not typically apologize to their kids, but we shouldn't be doing that in 2025, right? Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is the invisible curriculum. In every home, there's the official curriculum. These are like bedtime routines, chores, homework, and so on. And then there's the invisible curriculum. how we deal with failure, how we treat people, how we show up in hard moments, how we talk to people, how we approach people, how we smile, how happy is the home, how we say I'm sorry, how we embrace, how we kiss, how we show emotions. It's all teaching these children something. Children are watching not only what you say about life, but how you live by it, right? If you're constantly criticizing yourself in front of them, if you're constantly criticizing your partner in front of them, if you're constantly arguing in front of them with your partner, if you handle frustration with grace, they learn that anger doesn't have to lead to confrontation, and all of that. Dear moms, right? This is a wake-up call to become more self-aware of what you're doing. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be intentional. So reflect on this and ask yourself, what silent lessons are my actions teaching my children today? You know? Um, Let me talk about something personal. Like, as old as I am, right? I still don't feel very comfortable when I call my mom and at the end of the call I say I love you, mom, because it was not a norm growing up. So even 30 39 years later, it still feels weird to say it because this wasn't what was practiced in my home. Now I'm changing that for my children, but this just like reflects what I'm saying, that they're like non-visible curriculums or things that you pass on to your children, that it's not written in black and white. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is emotional safety breeds future confidence. When kids feel emotionally safe, knowing that they can confide in you, they know that you are their safe space, they become more confident in who they are. And emotional safety doesn't mean that there are no rules, or that you are a permissive parent, or no, it doesn't mean that. On the contrary, it means that your children know they can bring their whole self to you and still be loved. This kind of safety is created when we validate their feelings, when we don't agree with their behavior, right? It's nurtured when we make space for tears, laughter, questions, confessions, without shutting them completely down. It is built when we stay present even when we're tired. In fact, studies show that children who grow up in emotionally supportive homes have a higher resilience, better ways of managing conflicts, and more secure relationships later in life. I'm going to give you an example. Now, my 11-year-old daughter feels confident to come tell me that, oh, mom, what happened in school, because she knows that I listen. She knows that I don't judge her for it. Like, anywhere I need to chip in some guidance, I'm going to chip in. But just being aware that she can come and tell me about her day, she's not ashamed or holding back on information because she feels that I'm going to criticize and poke holes in everything she's doing, that gives her confidence that, oh, mom is going to listen, and it has built a deeper relationship, a closer bond between us, because she knows that she can be herself around me. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is raising adults who are unique individuals and not, mini-me's, or pick-me's. It's tempting to raise kids who make us look good, but our job isn't to raise like perfect copies of ourselves, right? And that's why, you still know that your children are not going to perfect. No child is going to be perfect. They're still going to make mistakes. Our job is to raise our kids. Our job is to raise our kids as the perfect versions of themselves, being true to themselves. Do you understand me? Truly authentic to who they are, who they represent, having their own personality, right? Having their own voice, their own vision, their own mindsets, right? This means that you're giving space for them to be different and to have their own personal like interest, perspective, and even different temperaments instead of just molding them into our own specific image. And we guide them towards, our goal is to guide them towards theirs. It means that you're showing them that mistakes are okay, that growth takes time, and that their identity is something we support and not that you're just going to shape it, right? No wonder the quote says that children are not a canvas for us to paint on, they are a garden for us to nurture and tend to. And I'm going to use an example. African parents, you know how we're so rigid in our mindsets, and a lot of us, because we're doctors, we want our children to be doctors. We forget that the child may have their own like strengths. They might have something that they've been gifted in, which is completely different. So that's one good example. You identifying their uniqueness and guiding them towards that is, would improve their confidence. Having laid the right foundation, it is time to go into the 7 essential habits that shape your children's future, right? So number 1, we're going to talk about speaking to themselves and others. Why this matter is confidence starts with knowing that their voice matter. Kids need to learn that kindness doesn't mean that you have to be silent. No, it means that you standing up when needed, standing up for yourself. The way we speak to ourselves and others have a profound impact on our relationship and self-perception. Teach your kids the importance of kind words, positive affirmations, and respectful communications. Let them be bold, but also be respectful to others, right? I see a lot of people say, oh, my child is just bold, is just outspoken, but you see that the child is actually very disrespectful and rude. Encourage your children to speak kindly to themselves and to others, and even in difficult situations. How do we instill this? Let them speak for themselves, e.g., answer for themselves. Don't be quick to always jump into their conversation and take over their conversation. Number 2 is teach them how to say no. Not every yes is polite. And the reason why we need to do that is because abusers leverage on a child who is constantly people pleasing and just keep saying yes to everything, right? Teach them that setting boundaries is important and powerful. Next is praise and encourage them, not just let them be compliant. Don't just celebrate their wins. Not always like, oh, you have to be obedient, you have to be obedient. Celebrate the small wins, the small improvements, the small milestones that you see. This will boost their confidence to want to take the next step. Don't be a critic, always criticizing. That will withdraw your children from you, okay? Now, the second one is taking responsibility, right? Even when it's hard. This is one thing I teach my son, why it matters, right? Responsibility will build character, it will build resilience and trustworthiness. Taking responsibility is a crucial life skill that can help your kids develop a sense of ownership and accountability. Kids who own up to mistakes become adults who don't blame the world for their problems. So encourage your kids to take ownership of their actions, whether good or bad, and even when it's hard. Teach them that to apologize, make amends, and learn from their mistakes, that it is worth it, right? How do you instill this? Model it. If you make a mistake yourself, always say and apologize. Say, oh, it's my fault, I apologize. Kids learn by watching you. You don't want to be that parent who never apologizes, that African parent who never apologizes. And then natural consequences. If they forget their backpack, let them figure it out on their own instead of you rushing to always fix it. Don't have a fix it, fix everything mentality. In our goal to be perfect, we want to fix everything. In our goal to save time, we want to fix everything. So, step back from that. Apologize authentically, right? There's this joke that always goes that when an African mother wants to apologize, they don't apologize. They just say, "Oh, are you hungry?" or "I made food for you." Be authentic in your apology. Teach them how to say sorry as well and mean it, instead of being forced, and not direct. Okay. Now, number 3 is problem solving instead of giving up. Why it matters? Life is full of obstacles, and your children need to learn that life is going to life. They need to learn how to think instead of quitting at every given opportunity. When kids develop a problem solving skill, they become less anxious, right? And more resilient. Life is going to be full of challenges, and our kids need to learn how to navigate these challenges. So encourage problem solving skills by asking like open-ended questions, and then providing guidance where need be, and letting them learn from natural consequences of their action. Teach them to approach problems with curiosity and creativity. Now, how do you instill this? Don't solve their problems for them all the time. If they say, "I can't find my shoe," resist the urge to want to like fix it, and instead ask them, "Where last did you see them?" Help them. That's you stepping back and helping them figuring it out themselves. Now, next is encourage creative solutions. If a toy breaks, ask, "How else can we use this toy?" Let them navigate it. Praise the process, right? Not just the results. Say, "Oh, I loved how you kept your room clean. I loved how you hung your clothes. I love how you try to figure this out." And even if they don't get it right, say, "Oh, amazing job. I love that you tried to fix it," right? Even though you didn't fix it, I love that you put in the effort to fix it. Now, number 4, we're going to talk about gratitude, because you don't want to raise entitled kids. Entitlement is an ugly trait, right? Why this matters is because gratitude makes kids happier, less anxious, and more compassionate. Kids who appreciate what they have don't grow up feeling like the world owes them something. It also eliminates the spirit of greed, right? Or anger and jealousy. If you instill the spirit of gratitude in a child, it removes the jealousy and always wanting to have what other people have. I call it being satisfied in what you have, being content. Contentment is the word. Kids who appreciate what they have don't grow up feeling like the world owes them something, like I said earlier. So it's essential to teach your kids the value of gratitude and contentment. Encourage them to focus on the good things in their life, being content. But also, the contentment does not mean that you now become laid back. Let them express their thanks to others and cultivate a sense of appreciation. Remind them that entitlement is ugly and gratitude is beautiful. Now, how do you instill this? Model it daily, right? Instead of complaining, say, "I'm glad we have a car, and that can get us places." Appreciate the little things. Make thank you notes or thank you habits, not just for gifts, but also little things. And also say thank you to them when they help you. Like when my child brings me water, I'm in a meeting, she brings me water, she brings me food, I say thank you, right? You can say thank you for being patient, thank you for making your bed. Do a thank you routine. Ask them, what was one good thing, what was one thing that was good about your day, and let them be grateful for it. Next, number 5 is taking care of the body and mind. Why this matters is because kids don't just need to be healthy, they also need to know why it matters to be healthy. Teaching them to listen to their bodies help prevent burnout later in life. Taking care of our physical and mental health is vital for our overall well-being. So teach your kids that the importance of self-care, healthy habits, and mindfulness. Encourage them to prioritize their physical and mental health and model healthy habits yourself. Don't Your children have never seen you eat healthy. Your children have never seen you exercise. So they don't even think that exercising is normal. Seriously, mom, right? So how do you instill this? Teach balance, right? And not, guilt. It's okay to enjoy a treat, but also understand how food fuels your energy. Make exercise fun and not a punishment. I do walks with Tori. I do dancing with Tori. I skip with my children. I challenge them to a run, and that makes it so much fun. Okay. Yeah. Now, normalize rest. Kids need to know that rest is also productive and that it's important for you to find times in between rest. If you see you're always running on empty, they'll think that it's normal to get constantly overworked. Kids, number 6 is kindness. Even when no one is watching, being kind even when no one is watching. Okay? Now, why does this matter? Being kind isn't about looking good. It's about being good. True kindness happens when no one is watching. Kindness is a habit that can transform relationships and communities. Teach your kids the value of being kind, empathic, and how to show compassion. Encourage them to treat others with respect and understanding, even when no one is watching, And how do we instill this habit? Secret kindness mission. Give them little challenges like, let's put a note in your dad's bag saying, "Thank you, daddy." I think one person that actually models that a lot in my home is my Tori. Tori is the kindest person. She's always looking out for people. She's always like, "Oh, thank you, daddy. Let me put, or thank you, mommy. Let me put a pillow under your head when you're sleeping." So I see her model those kind of kind behaviors, which shows how kind her heart is. You want to teach your children why kindness is important, right? Instead of just telling them, "Oh, you have to be kind, share your toy, this, that. When teach them why it's important to share, right? To make others feel included. Now, model these habits consistently. Hold the door open, be happy to share, and learn helping hands to others. That is the kindness they see, is the kindness that they're going to emulate. Okay? So number 7 will be believing in themselves. Why this matters is that confidence is the foundation of resilience, creativity, and happiness. When kids believe in themselves, they're more likely to take risks, learn from their failures, and develop a growth mindset. Self-confidence is essential for success and happiness. Teach your kids to believe in themselves, their abilities, and their worth. Encourage them to love themselves. Encourage them to take risks and learn from their failures. And celebrate their achievements no matter how small. How do you instill this? Focus on their efforts and not their talents. Instead of praising, natural ability, focus on hard work and the effort that they put in, irrespective of what the outcome is, whether they make it or they fail. Always, affirm them. Okay. Celebrate their small wins, acknowledge and celebrate small achievements, even when they seem like they are insignificant. Encourage self-reflection. Help them to develop self-awareness by asking like open-ended questions like, what did you learn from this experience? Or how do you think that we can improve next time? Or how do you think that we would have made this work out better? Model self-belief, right? Remember that kids learn from what they see. So make sure that you're modeling self-belief and confidence in your own life. Now, on a final note, by instilling these habits in your kid, you'll be giving them the tools that they need to thrive in life. Your child may forget what you said. Let me repeat that. Your child may forget what you said, but they will never forget what you did and how you made them feel. Every time you slow down to listen, every time you respond with love, every time you model humility, you're sowing seeds that will blossom for decades, okay? Remember that it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Encourage your kids to develop the habits and watch them grow into confident, responsible, and compassionate individuals. Bear in mind that you're not just raising a child, you're raising a whole human being, and you're raising a whole human being. This work is not for the faint-hearted. It is sacred, it is not glamorous, it's rarely celebrated, but it's by far the most powerful and far-reaching thing that you can ever do. So please do an awesome job. And at the end of the day, it all will be worth it. Okay? Now, let's recap everything we said so that we know that we're on track. One thing we talked about is you are your child's first mirror. You are your child's first role model. Values will give more guidance than rules. Showing them the value of doing something will give them more guidance than you just dishing out rules. Your example is their silent teacher, so make sure you're modeling it. Emotional safety unlocks confidence and the full potential of your child. They becoming themselves and not you. So teach your children to be themselves and not just a duplicate of you. Now, 7 habits that can shape your children's future are speaking up for themselves and others, teaching them to use their voice with confidence, teaching responsibility, no excuses, no blaming, just taking ownership, problem solving. This helps them think and not quit. Gratitude, raise kids who are appreciative and who are content. Taking care of their body and mind, teaching them that rest and movement is normal. Kindness, not just for a show, but from the heart, right? And believing in themselves. Their confidence starts with what we teach them now. Okay, so don't forget to be intentional. I hope you did learn something. Which of all of this that we just highlighted, or which of these 7 habits do you want to focus on and instill in your kids? What did you learn from this video? Please share your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to like this video, comment, and share to another mom who will really find this helpful. So I hope you found this, really helpful, and don't forget to share it, and bye.
Come and fly